work right. Again. I swear, I cannot begin to describe to you the exasperation I am feeling at this moment. Stupid, damn, blasted, stinking, frickin' lousy. This is driving me crazy. I had the music working. I had everything working. I change. I can't even figure out what it is that's different to change it back. There is no one, go back to your original settings button. Of course not. I've tried, they've got to, reset to defaults, but I've tried it and it keeps saying, oh, well, something else is using it. We can't do that now. And I'm about ready to punch somebody. I hope wherever Bill Gates is, he steps on a Lego daily. This is really frustrating. It really, really is. I lost everybody, didn't I? I had like 5 people in the audience, and now they're all gone because I had technical difficulties and nobody's showing up anymore. And what the hell am I supposed to do to? This is the message I'm getting now from YouTube. Please use a keyframe frequency of 4 seconds or less. What the frack? I see no. I'm looking at this program and I don't see any keyframe settings. I have no idea. I have no idea how to change the keyframe settings. You want to know why people get so angry? You get some people that say, why are you so angry? You're just being ungrateful. They tell you that you're being ungrateful because you could be without these things at all. It's look, it you know you should be grateful for the half a sandwich. Better better half a loaf kind of attitude. Well, the problem is it's not about a half loaf. It's about the fact that the people, these people that make these programs, they make this software, they make this technology, and they make all these promises, implied or implicit or explicit, about how they'll work. And you get the product, you open the packaging, you put it in there, and it doesn't. And you have no way to figure out why it isn't working or how to fix it. Adobe Flash Media Live Encoder 3.2 has hundreds of little options, little frames and things, and with all these little numbers and formulas in them that mean absolutely nothing to somebody who didn't program the damn thing. Nowhere, you know, nowhere in all of these numbers and little open window slots and everything else. Look at here. Let me. You see this? You see all these little data entries? They mean nothing to me. They're all Greek. And they're telling me I need to up my keyframe rate. Thank you. Thank you so much for that enlightening bit of information. Tell me, what do I do to do that? How do I increase my keyframe rate? There is no keyframe. And the way they phrase it, they make it sound like I deliberately set the keyframe rate too low. I don't even know what the keyframe rate is. Or how to reset it. Here, take a look. See all these. Look at that. Look at all those little settings. They're gibberish to me. And I guarantee you, there's some schmuck out there, from the early days of the internet, back when only people with a college degree in computer programming and math could figure out how to set up a LAN connection. Just gloating about smug about the fact that nobody can figure out how to use this stupid frickin' program. That you have to be one of the gilded, anointed initiates to the order. I can't fix it. I don't know how to fix it. Okay, auto adjust. Let me see here. I'm going to stop it again. Don't leave me alone here. Don't there were half a dozen of you in the channel just a minute ago, and I stopped. I tell you, I'm going to stop the broadcast for just a second while I fix something. I come back not 30 seconds later. You're all gone. You're not in that much of a hurry. Okay? I'm going to stop the broadcast. I'm stopping the encoder for just a second to adjust a setting. I will be right back. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I just adjusted this. I put the settings so that it assumes that I have a really terrible bandwidth to begin with. Testing. Okay, good. Testing. And now it's letting me add. Now let's see if it'll let me play music again. Audio library. Clickety 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 click. Look at this face. This is a face of a man who has just basically given up any basic hope for for his own human dignity. Remember it. I'll tell you one thing technology has contributed to in the human civilization we could have really done without. It is the invention of the computer and the internet has done more to contribute to the existence of conceited, undeserved conceit, I might add, of conceited jackasses. There have always been people who have delighted in being on the inside group and use the fact that they are that have used the fact that they were on the inside to be jerks to anybody who is struggling to fit in. It didn't matter if they were like, if they were in a club or something, and it didn't matter if they'd only been there one day longer than the new guy. They lorded it over as if they had accomplished something grand by there early. The internet has inflamed that. I mean, you look at these people that there are people out there who are still offended at the existence of things like Facebook, because it lets the plebes in. And you look at your average online role playing game, your average game like World of Warcraft or WildStar or any of these war games that are so big these days. And these people can't quite seem to grasp the concept. The only reason the game exists, it doesn't exist for you alone, okay? Dude, if you're out there, gamer just letting you in on a clue. The game does not exist solely because of you. It exists for the 10 million other guys who are signed up. And it exists to get more people like them to sign up. If people stop, that game you love so much is going to die. And so what if every game has to be aware of this. If you stop getting newbie, you stop having a game. Better games than the ones you're playing have curled up and died for lack of subscription. And how do these people treat new players in the game? Crap. There are people out there that their thing is for newbies to log on and then gank them. And this is their amusement. They go to news zones where the level 1 characters just sputter their way through the place. They'll kill the NPCs so nobody can get the quests they need to move on in the game. They'll just trash things. Because apparently they believe it makes their e-penis bigger. Dude, if I ever catch any, I don't know who, I don't care who you are. If I catch you live in person doing that on a game, I will walk back in with a baseball bat and I will break your kneecaps. The internet was invented as a means for you to be a shitheel and escape the consequences. And if I catch you, I will become the living embodiment of karma, as far as you are concerned. And these new players come in, they don't know what they're doing. They're new to the game. What do they do? They ask for, what do they get? Good. Play more, harder. Okay, for 357. Okay, look, I'm gonna have to, this recent fiasco with my computer has slowed me up, but I'm just gonna have to take them as as they're stacked up. I got a stack here, so where is my? I'm trying to get my Wacom tablet up here. Dang it! And I still can't get the music play out over the. Ah! What is this? Why is it not? It's not playing on it. It is not playing through the system sound. Why is it not playing through the system sound? Manage audio devices. Okay. That's how it's supposed to be. Okay, recording. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing. Testing. Yeah, that's working right. Why is it not hearing the music? Configure. No, that just pulls up the speech rate. Why the hell? I want to adjust my sounds and I can't find it. I can get the speech recognition crap anyway. I have no idea what I'm doing. And YouTube is still sending me the message that my video code is... The video is encoded with an unsupported codec. What the... Hold on, I gotta stop it for just a second. Again. Hold on. It's one of these thousands of arcane settings, or the settings behind the settings. And for the life of me, I still can't figure out what's wrong. I still cannot figure out what's wrong. And the damn YouTube is screwing up too, damn it. Pardon my language. Just bad habits. Getting old. Tired. Getting sick of this crap. Testing. Vodio dodio, vodio dodio, vodio dodio, vodio. Testing. Testing, testing. System sound working. You know, if this were an analog system, all I'd have to do is plug something in, and it would work. That's all it would take. That's all I would have to do. If I wanted to talk and have music at the same time, I'd just plug in a microphone and a tape recorder or a record player or whatever the hell into another, into separate sockets, and it would work. But no, they got to make the inside of these damn computers like a plumber's nightmare. We're doing it for utility. What you're hearing is the sound of the music leaking out around my headphones. Not coming through. It's not coming through the system sound on the computer. Just old. I'm just tired. Just tired. Well, apparently it's. I don't know. I don't know what the hell it's doing. Tell you one thing, they better not catch him on a bad day, because I swear, being used, Fat Man beats a computer programmer to death with his own keyboard. Give me a second, give me a second. I'm just... Whatever. I don't know if it's working or not. I can't figure out why. If it is, so what the hell? Now, why? Oh, that's good. Why is it doing that? Okay, edit. Ow. Ah. And I've told you this story before. Most people don't realize what a difficult road to hoe. You look at some of the people that are successes. I mean, major world-shaking successes. Uh, the of Garfield, Jim Davis. He's a multimillionaire now. He doesn't even do his own comic anymore. He has a staff that draws for him, and he's still, he's internationally known. His strip runs in papers all over the world. Now, or well, take J.K. Rowling. She's the most. She is the first She is the first billionaire. She was the first billionaire author. Uh, she literally gave away so much to charity. She's back down below the $1 billion mark. You know, make of that what you will. But it says something kind of sad that when you hear somebody is giving away millions in charity, the first thought, if you got any common sense, is to wonder just what idiot thing they gave the money away to. What does it say about the world? What does that say about us? Too much in love with the world, too much in love with the gold. I'm afraid. But at the same time, yeah, they donate to stupid causes or even counterproductive ones. Considering that a lot of these charitable organizations turn out to be everything from environmental radicals to Islamic terrorist groups. They're we've all developed I know I at least have developed a serious amount of cynicism about the virtues of people who give away millions of dollars. Because more often than not, they've given it away to things that would destroy the very way of life they like so much. What can you say? And it's made me very cynical and very skeptical about charitable giving. And about charity in general. And that's really sad. God loves a cheerful giver. And we're no longer cheerfully charitable. We're cynical and suspicious. As I am. Like the Clinton Foundation out there, you'd have to be made of concrete. You'd have to be. You'd have to be made of better stuff than I am not to be cynical about charitable organizations. You find out how many of them are just money-making mills for the people running them. Find out about all the supposedly charitable organizations the government runs with our tax dollars, and it just makes ice crust over your heart, I've gotten off topic. What I wanted to talk about was the fact that well, I've talked about this before. J.K. Rowling, her book, her series of books, and now her movies, unbelievably successful. And even just reading the very first book, it should have been obvious. Oh, hey, this is a fairly good series. It's even if you didn't, even if you never suspected that they'd make a multi-million-dollar franchise out of them, you had to go, oh, these will be pretty good sellers. And if you're a book publisher and you go, oh, these are pretty good, we'll give them a shot. That poor woman She wrote that first book, and she could not get anyone to even look at it. And when I say not even look at it, I mean they would not even read it. They refused to read it. There is something obscene about the fact that one of the traditional things you have to do to even get editors to read your book is that you have to have an agent, like you're some sort of Hollywood star, just to get your toe in the door. She managed to find somebody who offered to represent her, and even he couldn't get anybody to look at it. The only reason that Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone ever got published was because one day one of the underlings, the assistant editors, went home with a big stack of manuscripts he was supposed to skim through for the slush pile. The slush pile is what they call all the unsolicited. It gets all thrown in a big heap, and and every now and then they'll give a pretense of looking through it. So that they can, officially send back a form letter that says, thank you, but this doesn't meet our interests at this time. But anyway, he left the manuscripts out, and his niece, I believe it was, came in, found the manuscript for Harry Potter, sat down and read it, and came back and said, there had better be more. And from there, and he sits there and goes, "Wow, gee golly, you mean this this children's book is actually appealing to a child? Who knew?" And the next thing you know, they're publishing it, and the rest is history. And the tragic thing is, think about that. Think about that. The publishing industry is so entrenched that it was a radical, revolutionary idea to take a children's book that they were considering for publishing and see if a child liked it. That was radical, outside the box thinking for a children's publisher. Then there's the Incredibles. You realize that thing got shot around for something like 15, 20 years? No exaggeration. It was shipped around from group to group, and what would happen? It was in development hell. It was just circulating back and forth. They'd start poking around at it as an animation project, and then one of the producers or executives or directors would get fired for some reason, totally unrelated to that particular project. And the new guy who'd come in would treat everything the old guy touched like it was covered with failure cooties. And they'd find any excuse whatsoever to push it off the table. And there was one guy who came in, and he looked him dead in the eye. He looked the guy that created The Incredibles dead in the eye, and he said, well, we're not going to go with this because all the characters are wearing red costumes, and our focus group has found that people don't like red costumes on superheroes. And it is only by divine providence that it drifted its way over to Pixar. And Pixar was just starting out at that time, and Pixar is still in the phase where it believes that they're a movie making company that's still in the phase where they believe that the story is the most important part. And so they looked at this and they said, "Wow, this is great," and they took it, and that's how. The Incredibles, but this gem of movie making literally languished in Nowheresville for decades because a bunch of middle rank bureaucrats didn't were too scared to decide whether to shit or get off the pot. The book's Chicken Soup for the Soul. The entire self help series. You've read Chicken Soup. You've seen it, Chicken Soup for the Soul, and all the sequels thereafter. The guy that wrote it, he shopped it around everywhere. Nobody would touch it. One guy frankly told him it needed tits and gunfire to sell. And the only people that would touch it was a publishing company, a self-help publishing company that was just about to go bankrupt. And they had enough for one last shot. And they said, what the hell, we'll try this. And the next thing they know, they are a multi-million-dollar industry. The Chicken Soup line of books has sold millions. Nobody else in the book publishing industry would touch it. What does that tell you? What is this? What is the common theme of this? Is that the people, the infrastructure, the middlemen who used to facilitate the publishing of new books, the making of new movies, the writing and performing of new plays, the commissioning of new art and new cultural creations, the writing of new albums and new music and new compositions. These people have passed the point where they are a necessary, middleman. They are now a bottleneck. They block the way. And they have dedicated nearly all their resources towards maintaining their throttle hold over the bottleneck. This is why the RIAA spends millions of dollars pissing people off with their anti-piracy efforts. They can't quite seem to get the idea that they are wrong. They're not stopping the pirates. They're making the pirates look like heroes. They're infuriating their legal customers, and the people who are stealing the stuff are laughing at them. And why? Because they want to maintain control. They've done this before. They did it back when they threw a fit when blank cassette tapes started becoming popular because they'll record music off the radio and they won't buy it. And piracy. Recording music or anything broadcasted off the radio on a tape recorder, they insisted was piracy. And did the same thing with VCRs and VCR and DVDs and CDs. And who is it that made the most money? They made more money from selling movies on VHS cassettes, renting them in Blockbuster, than they ever made from the movies themselves. Once they got their heads out of their rear ends and started using the new technology instead of fighting it. And this is why the RIAA and the movie makers and the recording studios and everybody else, they hate the internet so much. This is why the publishing companies hate Kindle and print-on-demand publishers and all the other indie publishing outlets that are out there now. These companies spend millions fighting the very people they should be working with. As I was saying before I start chewing on a coffee, I have to confess that one of the things that might help me out, as far as my own success rate goes, or at least my survival rate goes, is getting more people watching and listening and reading and all of the above with my comics and books and stuff. But I'm kind of at a loss as to how to approach it. I am terrible at self promotion. Everything I have ever tried has pretty much after an initial success. I'll get a brief rush of people. Ooh, I heard about this. I heard about that. Let me in. But after that, they're gone. It disappears. The effect, the effectiveness of the approach disappears. This is and I've had this problem with other things. Like I said before, I will find a way, a money making approach, like auctioning off commissions, and after a brief, and I mean often incredibly brief, round of success, it will dry up. And I have to confess that there are days when that happens, and I wonder, is God trying to tell me something? Oh, is this and I'm going? Is this God just smacking my hand and telling me, no, you need to be a missionary in the jungles of Borneo or something? No, you should be starting a church in the Alps or in the Smoky Mountains or something. Or you should be or you should be a televangelist or something, or you should be still doing. You shouldn't be doing this. You should be doing something else entirely. That's always been wondered my whole life. Unfortunately, God doesn't seem too interested in sending me an email and cluing me in. Sometimes I'm a little bitter. Sometimes I'm a lot bitter about how how blind I feel. Sometimes I got questions that don't seem, that if I asked them of a pastor or a minister, I would probably offend them, and I would never hear. I've never heard an answer that satisfied me for long. Yeah, if like this one, let's consider it first. First, you ask the wrong person, you get slapped in the face for asking. Even, my dad, like when my dad was a boy, he said, they used to give him lectures about mismanners. Person, somebody who somehow through her got named Miss Manners, and one day, in the middle of a school lecture by his teachers, Miss Manners said you should do this, and this when you're doing this. And my dad, in all asked, who made her the expert? Why is she the expert? And she got mad and punished my dad for sassing. And, that's a no-win situation. I've reached the point. I've said to myself that if the questions can't be answered, maybe we should stop being offended at those that ask it. At low times, these questions surface in my mind all the time. Like just this one fundamental question. Questions that will make you uncomfortable just thinking about, much less saying out loud. If God is supposed to be perfect, omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, omnibenevolent, everything, sees all, knows all, is perfect in every way. If God is so perfect, why did his universe he created go to hell? Metaphorically speaking and literally at the same time, if you think about it. He makes this perfect world and this perfect universe, and he makes all the perfect angels, and his most beautiful, the Bible says that Lucifer was his most beautiful creation. This wasn't something done casually. He wasn't a, off the shelf, slough product here. Uh, he was basically more or less one of God's great creations, and what happens? He rebels, and you're saying, "Now, where did that come from?" And then you find out later he ends up in the Garden of Eden, and everything is supposed to be good. Everything on earth, everything from the very first day, God looked at it and said it was very good. And what happens? Not 5 minutes after Lucifer possesses a snake and starts talking to Eve, and up she goes. 5 minutes, one conversation, and everything comes apart at the seam. God's like, okay, that's it. Everybody out of the pool. Now I don't know about you. Well, just devils. For lack of a better term, devil's advocate here. If you had somebody who claimed to be the world, if everybody claimed he was the world's greatest engineer or mechanic or scientist, whatever, just super genius inventor, right? And everything he invented exploded. or broke down, or burned up, or melted, or fell over, or whatever. That I mean, the Bible says a third of the angels in heaven, a third, rebelled against God, and these are supposed to be the handiwork of a perfect Creator. What is missing from this picture? What understanding do we not have of this situation? I've had some people, these people, I've had some very close arguments about hell, for instance. And there's very difficult answers, and not very satisfying ones. I've had people point out that if a human being did to a dog or a rat what God does for all eternity to the souls of the lost, we would curse them as the most monstrous, evil thing to walk the planet. That's a stone cold stopper right there. That's a show stopper right there. And you look at it, hell. Even if it was temporary, you're looking at hell, and you're going, all of this for the sake of a lousy apple. And it was only 2 people on earth that voluntarily made that choice. Everybody else, whoever lived, who was ever born, and whoever died, had no say. We're never given that option. We're never given that choice. And 99% of the world's population never even heard the story to make the decision. It's arguable that that's the reason. That's the reason that Christ died, is because he was in the recognition that man was condemned. Well, first of all, think about it. If you do something stupid, like I don't know, stand in front of the microwave too long, or carry around radioactive material in your pocket, your children will pay the consequences, won't they? They'll inherit it from you. And that's the whole point of the gospel message, the message of Calvary, is that the sacrifice was so that every human being would have a chance to make a choice one way or the other. Of course, that still leaves aside the fact that millions before and after Calvary have there are places in the world where you can stand on a mountain and you can smoke rising from fires out in the jungle. Tribes that have lived that way for literally thousands of years, being born, living, and dying, never hearing a word of the message of the gospel, never hearing any of this. And some people say, "Oh, that's proof that we should be, doing more missions out in the field." And I'm just like, "Wait a minute, wait a minute." And millions of people who we never could have reached in our lifetimes, and it's our fault that they don't know because we didn't find them in the grievously short lifespan in all our travels. No way on earth that even if we had known of them, that we could, the rest of the world didn't know of them, and even if they'd known of them, wouldn't have been able to reach them. But them not hearing that message, that accept or perish message, that life or death message, is the fault of the mortal human beings who could have never, in any reasonable possibility, reached those places to bring the message to those people. Angels have wings. We don't. Ask questions, even the ones you don't have answers to yet. If you're afraid to ask questions, you're afraid to learn. Now, this problem, this paradox, this conundrum, a benevolent, all-loving God who delivers a message to one corner of the world and millions of places, no feasible way for the poor, pitiful mortals in that location to possibly reach every place in the world. Even after 2,000 years, we have not reached every corner of the earth. And we're already too late for millions who have lived and grown old and died. And through no fault of our own. This is why Joseph Smith was able to start the cult of Mormonism with by fabricating a story about Jesus coming to North America, reincarnating in North America to pass the message. Patched over that little quote unquote problem with the gospel message. What about the Native Americans? And so Joseph Smith spun up a story where the message of the gospel leaped the Atlantic. Wasn't true, but it's obvious why it would have appeal to many people. And then there are people who have asked me, God had just created Adam and Eve, put them in the Garden of Eden, and then let Satan, the most powerful, most evil creature in all of the universe, loose in the Garden of Eden with these two new creations. And I've heard it compared to throwing a live pit viper into a children's nursery. That does paint a pretty ghastly picture. Of course, we're assuming that Adam and Eve were ignorant, innocent, and naive. Adam and Eve were the first human. They were ideal. They were immortal. It doesn't say how long they were in the Garden of Eden either before this happened, and they had to have been more intelligent than any man that ever walked the face of the earth. They didn't have any of the defects or the shortcomings of our race today. If Adam and Eve were to walk through this world today, humanity would be in awe of them because they would have been physically and mentally perfect. And we can assume that they were highly intelligent, considering that Adam named the creatures of the earth. Well, it's presumably all of them. And they're even after fall, the children were already building cities within a few short centuries, within a century or so. So they weren't exactly the gullible, they weren't exactly naive, wide-eyed, gullible innocents either. Still, that's a pretty harsh trial by fire for newborn creations. There are so many questions that that just aren't going to have any answers, or at least no answers that satisfy or appease or put our minds at rest. But we have to ask. Because if we refuse to ask, then we make it clear we're afraid to know the truth, even if it's given to us. We become afraid to know the truth. We are afraid to think about what the truth might be. And from there we become afraid to question anything for fear that we will transgress. And this is how you end up with people who are blind mummers, going through the motions, unable to defend the faith when it's questioned, and their only response when asked about the harder things is, well, it's not ours to question. Quite the contrary. I believe that questioning is the only thing that we have. if your faith won't stand up to a few questions, it's not much faith, is it? I complained about this last night. It seems like there are people out there. There are people out there who, uh, contrary to all reason, common sense, contrary to the laws of averages, to the laws, just contrary to all reason, they prosper, despite either being wicked or ridiculously stupid, or being obvious abysmal failure at something. And and doing things that are destructive towards our own goals. And worse, their incompetence acts as a obstacle to everybody else. People who should be succeeding and who are struggling to survive and to and just to hang on to the bottom rung. These jackasses are rolling in clover, and it makes you go, why, God, why? I don't expect divine intervention, but you at least expect the laws of physics to be impartial. You know? Well, I mean, like you take the guys in Aerosmith, or in any of these other older rock bands. Aerosmith, my lord, Mick Jagger, good God, he looks like beef jerky with lips. Guys like him, they're out to booze, sex, drugs, wild living. Uh, by all rights, I mean, out there living a lifestyle that kills lab rats. Kicking, and he is about to see. My grandmother died younger than he is. That's and you're going, okay. What's the story here? And then you got these people that run businesses. They do profoundly stupid things, and somehow they manage to stay in business. Like there is a museum. It's literally a grocery store, a store. It's set up like a store. It's filled with failed products. There was a time that Gerber Baby Food tried to break into the adult food market, and they invented this stuff. They called it singles. And the idea was it was little bitty jars of single servings of stew and whatever. The problem the problem was it looked and had the texture of baby food, came in a baby food looking jar, and obviously just that and the fact that it was named Singles, just to underline the fact you're a loser living alone eating out of a baby food jar. Fail. And you see all these horrible products out there, absolutely awful things. I mean, remember, it wasn't too long ago, but was it in the summer, this summer or last summer? I think it was this summer. The Burger King tried to show their support of gay pride. Okay, please shoot yourself in the foot. Thank you very much. And so what do they invent? The gay burger. That's what I call it. The gay burger. It was a burger in a rainbow wrapper. You heard me. The gay burger. If you can't think of the obvious joke, I'll give you a minute. Oh yeah. You know that somebody walked in. I couldn't imagine touching the damn thing. Because all I could think is a big juicy piece of meat between two big round buns. And I was like, I could barely keep my van from veering away from that side of the road whenever I pass a store. I'm like, oh, I can't picture. Stop it, brain, stop it. Just what genius? What genius in the Burger King executive offices looked at what happened to Chick-fil-A and decided to do the exact opposite? Think about it. They had to have seen what happened to Chick-fil-A, okay? Remember what happened to Chick-fil-A? All Chick-fil-A did is that one of they're a Christian company. They're founded by Christian people, and they espouse Christian values. And one of them came out and said, they had made a donation to a pro-family values organization. And, of course, all the flaming queers were out there. That's just how we're anti-gay. And he came out, and the executive came out and said, we are a pro. And they flipped out at them. The gay community actively attacked them. The gay community tried to boycott them. And America responded. Chick-fil-A enjoyed the best sales summer of its existence. Now, let's do the math, Burger King genius. The gay community tried to bash Chick-fil-A. rest of America came out in support of Chick-fil-A. Now, what do you think was going to happen when you came out with Rainbow Gator? The new computer is working. Still got a couple of items. I managed to get. They sent me the cable to hook up my old hard drive arrived, and I spent most of the day just shifting files over and stuff. My new power supply arrived, and I'm waiting for a video card I ordered. So should be up to 100% once it arrives. No, Ben, Satan is most absolutely declared in the Bible to be evil. So, got to call you on that one. Okay, this election is Gilderoy Lockhart versus Dolores Umbridge. Okay. First of all, Gilderoy Lockhart had no spine. Now, you can say a lot of things about Trump. But one thing you can damn well say for sure is that he's got a pair swinging below. He has weathered vicious, nasty, personal attacks, libel, slander, perjury. Just about, and people just trying to destroy him at every opportunity, and he, stuff that would have made any other candidate fold up like a piece of wet tissue paper and crawl off to die. And his attitude, they tried to bring out the worst thing they could about him, is that he said rude, crass things about women off the record. And he said, fine, I apologize for that. That was 10 years ago, and I should have known better. But now we've got some serious crap to deal with. So can we get back on those issues? He's competent too. He runs multi-million-dollar businesses. Okay, and he has enjoyed his shortfalls have made the news, but for every one that he's had 100 others that were successes. That's how it works. You take risks, and some of them don't pay off. But you bust your hump, and you make the ones who pay off better. He's also got a dang decent plan for health care. I've looked it over. He's got a platform that I just line by line. I'm like, yeah, this is what we need to do. And he's got a foreign policy that I approve of. He's got a domestic policy that I approve of. He's pro-life, which is more guts than half of the Republican Party. You see, so it's not Gilderoy Lockhart. Gilderoy Lockhart had nothing. He had no guts. But even if it was Gilderoy Lockhart versus Dolores Umbridge, I'd vote for Gilderoy Lockhart. And I'd vote for him again in 4 years. Because Dolores Umbridge has got nothing on Hillary Clinton. Now, so yeah, if it was, think about it. Gilderoy Lockhart, he was a blower, but as long as he wasn't pushed into a corner, he didn't cause any real damage. He was not openly malevolent. Dolores Umbridge killed people. Ben, he had different policies 10 years ago. What a frickin' surprise! It's called growing, learning into your mind. At the very least, I'll give him this. Even if he's doing nothing but going with what the public wants, he's going with what the public wants. Isn't that kind of what people want in a democracy? Hello, remember? Of by and for the people. We want these people to represent our will. If he's out there going, this is, the people want strong security and they want to get rid of Obamacare. So we'll go with what the people want. That's what we want! This is what pisses me off about all you people criticizing Trump. Trump is not a saint. He's far from being Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan had, among other things, Ronald Reagan had a genuine skill at being a great communicator. Trump has no bedside manner, let's put it that way. And, but let's see here. Everybody said, we don't want any of these we don't want any of these Washington, D.C. sites. We're sick of these. And you try and bring up, but the Republicans have a different stance on these policies. Well, the Republicans and the Democrats are saying, we want an outsider. We want an outsider. Well, la de freaking da. Here's Donald Trump. He's not a career politician. He could be more outside Washington, D.C. if you shot him outside with a catapult. We want somebody that represents a company, somebody who knows business. La de freaking da! Here he is! We want somebody that shows some guts. We want somebody who doesn't mule and puke and whine and whimper and simper and apologize for everything. Well, here he is. Hello! Just like everybody else in history, you've gotten what you wanted, and you're still not happy. Sour-faced and with your chin in your hand, haven't you ever been pleased? You complain you had no fur, complain of the fleas. I think the reason that Trump came out, I think the reason that God's plunked Trump down in the middle of this is because he decided he's going to give us somebody. He's not going. Trump is not going. He's going to upset everybody, but he's going to do the job needed to make sure that America survives. All you people out there, all you people, giving all your social excuses and your religious excuses and all your other excuses, half-assed reasons for opposing Trump. Oh, anybody but Trump. Surprise. You're not going to get what you want, you're going to get what you deserve. Well, welcome to today, Ben. That's one of the things that makes me like Trump more every single day. He pisses all of y'all off. All the people I think need a boot in the ass. All the spineless Republican insiders, the Democrats, the social justice warriors, the gutless undecided who are apparently waiting for Gandhi or Jesus to run for office. He makes you all mad. None of you seem to like him. And quite frankly, he's a distant choice on my list. He's not exactly pleasing me either. So I figure he's the best dang compromise we're going to get. And every other candidate out there is worse than Hillary. Gary Johnson, that fool and a tool, who is running as the libertarian candidate, wouldn't know libertarianism if it jumped up and bit him on the ass. He's a leftist. He's a socialist. He's a statist. He has openly advocated policies that the Libertarian Party allegedly opposes. He thinks it's a grand idea for the government to come in and shut down companies that don't cooperate with the gay agenda. He thought it was a grand idea when they ran that bakery out of business for not doing a lesbian wedding cake. He thinks that Hillary is a great stateswoman, and he's referred to religious freedoms and the civil right, the right to freedom of religion, as, quote, a black hole. So he's not your religious friend either. But because he put libertarian on his little name tag, everybody's falling down as if he was the last one to save them from the horrible, horrible Trump. For somebody who doesn't have a strong ideological center, he sure seems to manage to piss off people who say that he needs to change it. I'll wait and see. He may screw things up big time. He may. That's the thing of it. But I darn well know that all the ones that were running against him are pretty much guaranteed to screw things up. Because that's their goal. Hey, you don't want attitude, don't go around talking smack. You don't want me to give you the attitude? You don't want me to give you attitude. He don't know me very well, do he, folks? Coming in here with that Dolores Umbridge, Gilderoy Lockhart crap. I used that joke a while ago, and I pointed out that no, it wasn't even a fair comparison. Because Gilderoy Lockhart was scared to death of what people thought of him. Trump couldn't give a fart in a windstorm. That's what sells Trump so hard, because quite frankly, he talks to other politicians the way the average American at home yells at his TV set when a politician comes on. Don't tell me for a minute you haven't dreamed of being in a position where you could just really tell your local representative exactly what you thought of him in so many words. And preferably throwing in a blow to the groin while you're at it. Oh yeah, that's one of the things about the Libertarian Party. Now, libertarianism. There are Christian libertarians. The fundamental difference, the real policy difference between libertarians and conservatives. Both libertarians and conservatives believe that there should be less government. They are just in disagreement about how much less. Let's face it. Government is a lot like a medicine. Too much, it becomes a poison. Too little, and it's worthless. The fundamental argument of human civilization thus far, and politics thus far, has been how small a dose can we take and still get the effects we need. And libertarianism has some very strong, very solid arguments in favor of the policies they want to enact. Unfortunately, the Big L Libertarian Party seems to have lost its way. I point you again to their candidate of choice. A man who is a known statist, a man who thinks that the party should chuck most of its platform for other people, to make them more quote-unquote palatable, a man who thinks that Christian civil rights, religious freedom is I repeat, this is his words, a goal. A man who supported the statist intervention that led to people being blackmailed and bankrupted by the gay movement for the crime of not wanting to bake them a cake or take photographs of their wedding. Now, you may have heard of this, you may have heard of it in a history book. You're not allowed to actually exercise it openly anymore. It's called the right to freedom of association. That means you have the right to interact with or not interact with whomever you choose. And that you do not have to justify your reasons any more than you have to justify your right to freedom of speech, press, religion, or the right to bear arms. It's an inalienable human right. The right to say, no, I do not want to engage in business with you. And it doesn't matter why not. During the 60s, the statists in our country used the civil rights movement as a Trojan horse. It was one thing when they were abolishing the Jim Crow laws, which were immoral, unconstitutional, and unjust, and when they were demanding that the African American populace be given equal and fair access to public goods such as the public schools and to the right to vote. But when they started forcing private citizens to serve segments of the population, to provide goods and service to segments of the population they did not want to engage with, that violated the Constitution themselves. But because of the zeitgeist of the time, because everybody was in a rush to prove how not racist they were, that little factor got overrun and forgotten. And now we are paying for it in our society, because now All they have to do, you can refute. You've seen signs. This institution exercises the right to refuse service to anyone. But if they practice that right, then the person who has been thrown out can turn around, go whip up a sob story, and all they have to do is convince an activist judge that they're being quote unquote discriminated against because of their status as a member of a minority. One of the protected classes of minorities, that is. There are tons of minorities out there that don't get any rights or protection or special consideration from our government. But the Libertarian Party, if anything, the Libertarian Party should be out there supporting the right to freedom of association. The Libertarians should be, if they believed what they preached, the Libertarian Party would have been out there supporting that little Christian bakery and fighting on their behalf tooth and nail. But instead, they're too busy picking a candidate who thinks that they got what they deserved. If a man won't if he won't protect these people's religious freedom or their right to freedom of association, he's not gonna give a rat's ass about anybody else's. Yeah. I got no problem with people who are, quote unquote, in it for the weed. It was never my job as a Christian to force people to abide by my personal taboos. Heck, I've looked at the Bible and I've come to the conclusion that there isn't any real solid scriptural grounds for ending abstinence from alcohol. The Bible condemns drunkenness, not drinking. I'm sorry. It's amazing to you got to take a step back and think about this for a minute. The Christian church has managed to make abstinence from alcohol one of their unchanging absolute pillars of their faith. When the founder of the Christian church, when the very object of worship of the Christian church, when the God of the Christian church, when Jesus Christ, the Son of God, part of the Trinity, his contribution to a wedding was pitchers of rain. And no, it wasn't watered down fruit juice either. That's one of the fairy tales that the teetotalers tell each other to try and rationalize the fact that Jesus and his followers did drink. But there you have it. So if you want to use weed recreationally, so long as you are use it in temperance and in caution, I have no real moral leg to stand on coming here, just waving my Bible in your face and slapping you around and saying you better give that up, you wicked sinner. And the fact that we have caused immeasurable suffering by our legislated government abstinence program, our prohibition, our 21st century prohibition of some drugs, has caused unnecessary human suffering. People who need the stuff for medicine ending up in prison. All the benefits of the plant as a crop for cloth, rope, paper, a grain for bread. The grain itself is highly nutritious, as is the oil. Get high off it. We have let our government be run by people so uptight and so stupid that industrial grade hemp cannot be grown in this country. Do you know what industrial grade hemp? Industrial hemp. Basically, you couldn't get high on it. There's one guy who grows this stuff up in Canada. He has to post signs because American tourists go driving past, and a few of them like to stop by and grab themselves some free samples. He has to post signs that says, this is not marijuana. This is industrial hemp. You would have to smoke the size of a tree trunk to get a buzz off this stuff. Did this thing cut me off? I hate it when it does that. Okay. I hate it when that happens. I hate it when it does that. But anyway, you get the Libertarian. That's the sad thing. The Libertarian Party. I'm not gonna say that they should give it. They should they should put aside these issues because they don't market really well. Bull crap on the marketing thing. But if they're going to stand for those, they're going to have to stand for all of them. But the Libertarian Party should be pro-life. If they were even remotely internally consistent, they would be pro-life and more adamant about it than the conservative Christians are. Because when you get down to the what are considered the essential building blocks of libertarian philosophy, is the assumption that individual human rights are inviolate. And the first right being the right to life. And if you have a political party that claims to support the right to life with adamant fury, and yet cannot muster the moral certainty to defend the life of a baby in the womb, then you don't have anything. You're just fooling yourself. You're just blowing gas out your ass. You don't have a rock solid moral foundation. You have whatever is convenient for you at the moment. They should be standing. The Libertarian Party, if it was morally and ethically consistent, would be pro-life. The Libertarian Party, if it was morally and ethically consistent, would be pro-religious freedom. And in fact, there are Christian libertarians out there, but they are on the out. They're off on their own thing because the Libertarian Party is dominated by atheists with a chip on the fedora wearing atheists, fedora neckbeard. Ah! Don't ask me why that happened either. switching off from my channel. Why is it doing that? This is making me mad. I think this is their new way of telling me you've been recording too long. Yeah, Donald Trump, he's been preaching a conservative. I don't believe he. I was of the opinion. Yeah, he may just be. He's doing what a businessman does. He gives the customers what they want, and he has apparently determined what the customers want. The American people. Is that they want a conservative president with a conservative platform. And I think that it is in his nature. He's a successful businessman, so he has obviously learned to give the populace what he promises. I'll say this much about him. Most people don't know some of the personal stories about the man, about Trump. I've mentioned this before. He has, on multiple occasions, he has reached into his own pocket and helped out people, entire group of people and individuals, in surprising ways. Like there was one boy who needed to fly literally across the country for medical treatment, and there wasn't an airline that would accommodate the medical equipment that the kid had to take along just to arrive alive. So Trump sent out one of his own planes, one of his own jets, and gave the kid a lift all the way across the country. And then, he has taken in, he has provided sanctuary for people who were victims of, one woman who had lost her family to a murderer. He provided her an apartment in one of the towers, so she'd have a place to stay, and nice security too. And he's helped out people after the hurricanes. Just a list going on. It's just basically decent things he's done. I told you my favorite story about him, though, is that when he sets his mind on something, he sticks to it. And the more people resist him, the more stubborn he gets. That I have seen about him. That you can see from just watching the election. But my favorite story about him is that on one of his pieces of property out in California, he had a 50-foot flagpole, American flag, standing out in front of his property. And the local homeowners association threw a hissy fit because our charter says you can only have a 30-foot flagpole on your property. And they threw a temper tantrum and they levied fines against him and all sorts of things. And he just stood his ground, And finally, after a couple of months, and they really stacked up the fines they were going to levy at him, he said, all right, let's make a deal. Let's make a deal. All right, I'll pay these fines, except instead of paying you these fines, we'll take this money and we'll give it to the local Veterans Association as a donation in your name. We'll give this money over to the Veterans Association over here. And I will take down my 50-foot flagpole and put up a 30-foot flagpole. Just so everybody, it's a win-win-win-win, all the way around. And apparently they like the idea of looking good on his dime. They said, oh, sure, fine, great, we'll let the money go to the Veterans Association. So he took the money out, he gave it to the Veterans Association, then he went out and he hired some groundskeepers who came out and built him a 20-foot hill on the front of his property, and then he planted his 30-foot flagpole on top of it. And I suppose he stood up there just looking off in the direction of their office building, just flipping them the bird, for a couple hours, uh, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I've grown to like Donald Trump. Managed to do something nice. He managed to do something nice for the local veterans board, for the local vets. He managed to piss off the homeowners association, and he still went ahead and did exactly what he wanted anyway, and got away with it. And I'm like, it's a thing of beauty, So yeah, I kind of like the guy. I don't, and yeah, if you want to bring up stuff about his what they call the hot mic incident, where they overheard him. They left the microphone running and he said some crass, raunchy stuff. Let's consider that, okay? What he said versus what Bill Clinton did. For starters, I am not excusing what he said in the least. It was crass, it was gross, it was just, dude, seriously. It was egotistical and arrogant, too. And, but he said it. He didn't do it. Bill Clinton, on the other hand, they have footage of him ropey with women. Okay? And his wife was out there and him. Whenever he had a bimbo eruption, she went out and the victim. You're going to shut up now, aren't you? Anyway, secondly, if you ever read the transcript, he basically admits, he hit on this one woman. He took her out shopping for furniture. I don't know. I don't do the swinging bachelor bimbo hunt scene. So last time I checked, you take them out for drinks or dinner or a movie or something like that. But furniture, okay. Furniture? But anyway, and he said, and she shut him down, and he admits, she shut me down. And she was married, and she just shut me down. And there you have it. Trump did something that Bill Clinton never did. He took no for an answer. And he didn't crawl like a worm when the news came out. He said, I came out there, I apologized to the American people, and I apologized to my wife for, it was 10 years ago, though. Now let's get back to business. We got real issues to deal with now. He apologized, but he didn't grovel. And that's what that's why the press is so mad about that, because he didn't grovel enough. You see, nowadays, if you catch a white man doing anything related to sex, his job is he's supposed to, crawl in the dirt and flog himself and snivel and grovel and ooze snot all over the place while he apologizes. I'm so sorry for being a scuzzy white male. Whether or not they really actually did anything or not. And Republicans, they're simps. They've been simps for decades. All they have to do is be accused, and they fold. But Trump was like, yeah, okay, I did it. I apologize to you, and I apologize to my wife. Now, can we get back to the real business? So, yeah, I like the guy. I don't think they claim there are people that he's a new Christian. Actually, they claim that he converted some time ago. But I don't know. I hope he is. I got many people look at it and you shouldn't act like that. And I'm like, you believe that? I got a bridge to sell you. Even the most devout and faithful Christian, a matured soul in Christ, one who has spent a lifetime trying, serving the Lord, can, to put it prosaically, stumble and fall. Or just behave reprehensibly in general. So, don't. But, Bible's full of stories of people that God called out, men and women after his own heart, who still did things that, would shock and dismay people for centuries. As for that, between him and God now. He's far from the, he's, so, we'll see. I hope he is a true believer. I hope he's a believer. That may be where his policy is changed by policies of comfort. We'll know soon enough. I got that camera on the right screen. Nope. Put that over there. I'm sorry about ranting earlier. I just look the the Never Trump crowd has just managed to get on every last nerve I have. Really has. Really, really, really has. Not even really trying. Okay, okay, okay. You have to look at it this way: is that they want to see homosexuals as a category, as a gender or a race or an ethnicity. They're not. What identifies a homosexual as a homosexual is their behavior, specifically their sexual behavior. But whether it's sexual or non-sexual, uh, one of the fundamental necessities of life is that we judge people according to their behavior. What I mean by that is that you have to. There are all sorts, as anyone can tell you, as any Christian can particularly tell you, but as anybody with a moment's philosophical thought can tell you, we are all susceptible to passions and urges at any given time, which we are expected as civilized human beings to control. Lust, wrath, pride, sloth, gluttony, and even other things, just fear, anger, grief. We are expected to control ourselves. Self-control is one of the first things we have to learn when we are infants. Controlling our own bodies, for instance. Bladder control. Come on, people. But if we insist that a person who has particular urges cannot control how he behaves because of them, then we forsake the right to claim any sort of civilization. Now, what would happen if people insisted that their anger, their rage, their wrath, justified, however they behave? You can't arrest me for beating the crap out of that guy. I'm a homo ragial. I'm a rageous sexual. If we no longer expect people to control their lust, then we've the right to expect them to control their anger, their fear, or any of their other pulses. It doesn't matter how horny or randy something makes you. You are still obligated as a civilized human being, as a rational beast, to control how you respond to that. Now, homosexuals are demanding the right to reclassify themselves based not on what they are, but how they choose to behave. That's not acceptable. What have these so-called gay rights become? Right to coerce other people in how they behave. That's basically what it is. I'm gay, I can force you to make me a cake. I'm gay, I can force you to, sign off on my marriage license. I'm gay, I can force you to hold my wedding ceremony in your church. And I love how these people, we'll never come to that, it'll never come to that. We won't force churches to do things like that. They're already just doing it. They're already destroying innocent people for not wanting to participate in these things. I don't care if I can't get you to agree with me that homosexuality is a sin. I don't expect everybody to agree with me on any of the moral issues brought up in the Bible. We're fallen creatures, and every last one of us is a darn devil along with. And every last one of us has sins, public, private, and what we think are secret, that we clutch close to us. May God have mercy on us and help us to let go of those evils. So I don't expect you to agree with me on everything. I certainly don't expect somebody who's made their entire life revolve around where they stick their wiener to agree with me that they are misbehaving. But they are striving to take away my right to it. They want to hold a gun to my head and make me recite the gay is wonderful mantra. Maybe sing a few choruses of the Circle of Life, And now we're going to sing some homosexual spirituals. Somewhere over the rainbow. No, I don't know. They have shown that they will attack and destroy us if we do not do as they command. That's not right. That's even worse than privilege. That's privilege and power over others. If you are given the power to silence somebody who says things that you or that hurt your feelings or upset you, you no longer can claim to respect human rights at all. The homosexual movement today is doing things that even the Greeks and the Romans, for whom molesting underage boys was a national sport, never did. They are trying to redefine. They're trying to use Newspeak. Remember 1984? They're trying to use Newspeak. They want to call sodomy marriage and force everyone else to agree with them at gunpoint. We are expected to say 2 plus 2 equals 5, or we will be hauled out and executed. They expect us to agree with it. They expect us to subsidize it. And they expect us to say nothing in opposition to it. And it's still not going to make them happy. Even if they manage to get everybody on the planet lining up to join in the gay pride parade every week and singing hosannas to the new pedophile initiative, they are not going to. They are not going to be happy. They are still going to be. They are going to be trying to make the reality of the world change to their fantasy. And no matter how many people they get to agree to say it, 2 plus 2 will never equal 5. And they know that. And they will always know that in the back of their heart, in the back of their minds, in the depths of their hearts. And they will push to greater and greater depravities and extremes to try and force the world to change. And when 2 plus 2 refuses to equal 5, they will blame us for it. This is what the militant left does. The lost world, and especially and the militant arm of it, they have all these wonderful fantasies that they force down the rest of the world's throat. Socialism comes to mind, communism, Marxism, and when it doesn't work, when it fails, as it inherently is meant to, they go out and start hunting people down to blame. This was the reason that this was what Hitler was after when he started trying to purge the Jews. The Jews were a scapegoat for all the failings of his National Socialism. No matter how bad things got, no matter how bad his policies made things, no matter how far down the road to ruin they were driven, the Jews were there for him to blame it on. And the gay activists are the same way. And this, let's call them. Let's lump it together in all one group. The sexual deviancy activists, because it's telling. They've done the numbers. Gay, lesbian, bisexual, transsexual, vegisexual, whatever they all call themselves, and they all of them combined come up to less than 5% of the population. I think it's like 2.5%. And that's an estimate that they take when they do surveys around San Francisco. That's the fun thing. They do all these huge surveys about the sexuality of the American. Where they conduct them in the heart, nastiest cities in America. That's where they do it. So we're supposed to believe that the people out in Idaho, 2 out of every 100 are a homosexual couple, But anyway, all of them lumped together. All the gays, bis, lesbians, transsexuals, transvestites, all of them combined. All the various deviancies. Combined barely make up. They don't even make up 3% of the population, and yet they mandate how our entire society behaves. And they are not going to stop until the rest of the nation gets down on his knees and praises them for being gay, bi, trans, whatever. And it's never going to happen. And their ordeal is never going to end. Feminists, no matter how many privileges, how many rights and privileges and, and how many special privileges you give to women in general. And women in America and in the West in general enjoy a pampered, legally privileged status that, if it applied to any other group, would be an outrage. People would be enraged if they treated white men the way they treat, with the privileges they give to women in general in this country. There would be no end to the race riots. But no matter what they have given the feminists, the demands never increase. Since morale is not improved, the beatings will redouble. I mean, good night. There are women out there who, even now, there are women out there claiming that this is the latest one. The scientific method is sexist. Can you rock with that? Can you dig that? And video games are sexist, comic books are sexist. And these poor bastards, the omega males, if you like, those of us who have basically abandoned the field, in the war between the sexes, and have gone off to just play our video games and leave the hell alone. They come out, okay, screaming bloody murder and insisting that misogyny. Nothing will please them, ever. Because if they ever admit that they're satisfied, their importance, influence, or hey, if they ever admit that they are on parity with men, that equality actually exists, if they ever admit that, then their importance vanishes. And for the rank and file, that's for those who are in charge. For the rank and file, if they can never admit to be, because they're never happy, because the more imagined misogyny they find, the harder they look for it. The more they look for it, the more they find. Dude, remember. It's just very simple. It's a very simple fact. It's a very simple fact of real life. The wicked are never satisfied. No matter how much license and depravity you give them, they will always demand more. And yes, I'm calling the feminists and the gay rights movement and the social justice warriors, I'm calling them depraved and wicked. Because what they want is contrary to basic decency. They propagate their agenda on lies and demanding things that are both indecent and unfair. Villains. And the fact that fools too doesn't lighten the load. Okay, it is 10 o'clock. I've managed to most of the night. I'll pick up tomorrow. I'm so rusty lately. Just everything just, you know. I've lamented about this before. I used to be able to, just bang, 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 nonstop, and produce so much, and that's changed. I've slowed down, and I like I'm 45 and I'm in bad shape physically too. So even if I was in good shape, I wouldn't have quite as much energy as I did in my 20s. Obviously, I can't wait for those days back again, or at least some of the energy. Just give me, I don't want to be, just give me some of the head, for a couple hours a day. Give me like, I don't know, 2 hours a day where I'm full of piss and vinegar like I was back when I was in my 20s. Heck, give me my 30s, 30, 35. Do I hear a 38? Come on, give me some. Come on, please, give me some. I need energy. But okay. I want to keep going, but I want to stop, and I don't know which is more important. But I think I'm going to stop. I wish I knew what the heck was up with these programs. They're not registering right. They're not. The meters aren't working right, and just crap. But I will see you all tomorrow night. We'll pick up from there. Hopefully, we'll get something done instead of getting wound up in my rants again. You all take care of yourselves, all right? Gonna try and get off my butt. I was kind of busy today, running back, trying to, just stuff. But tomorrow, I'll just sit down, just nose, grindstone, meet nose, trying that. But we'll see you all tomorrow. Say a prayer for me, because I've got issues. I've got things that are troubling me, and I've got problems that are not going away. And somebody being before the face of God on my behalf would be really appreciated. I will see you all. Like I keep saying, I will see you all tomorrow. You all take care of yourselves. God bless y'all. All right. You all have yourself a good night.